simple basic maintenance will come with mainly the burner. I'm going to remove this whole top of the burner, gas valve and all. So 2 screws on the side, and there's 2 on the top that are 1/4 inch. Remove your wires. And the whole burner should slide out nice and easy. It's kind of difficult to, you're going to have to twist the burner one way or the other so you don't break some porcelain electrodes in there. Lift and twist type deal. And this is your burner, that's your flame rod, and that's your spark or electrode to create combustion. Basic maintenance is basically taking this out, cleaning the burner, cleaning the flame rod and the electrode. And you're going to use a piece of something abrasive, like emery cloth or sandpaper, and just kind of wipe it off clean. Clean the burner and clean the spark electrode. So that's your, at least once a year or every 400 hours of operation or something, we're cleaning this. Make sure that this burner is tight. It basically has just a fitting here to the orifice housing, and if it's loose you could have a leak here. And you want to make sure that there's a defined little gap, if you can zoom in on that, where the flame rod comes through on the edge of the burner, is down around, say the 5 o'clock position. So once that's lined up and that's tightened, and all this is clean, you can reassemble it and put it back in. That shows the distance between the flame rod and the face of the burner. Get that? And it's saying it's 13/16 of an inch. And the distance between the igniter and this edge of the burner is 1/16 of an inch. And the distance between the face of the burner and this side of the flame rod is 3/4 of an inch. The air deflector here, this one actually is like a 30-degree fixed air deflector. It blocks off some of the air going into the burner. Some of the older models have a hinged air deflector, and make sure it's peeled up to begin with, so it doesn't drop down and deflect all of the air going into the burner before you put it in. And burner's back in place. The other part of the basic maintenance would be to clean the burner's blower at least once a season, depending on how the environment is. There's 2 screws that need to be removed. Loosen the blower motor. And the blower's wires are underneath the ignition transformer, so you have to remove it. Okay. Here's the blower motor wire, and we're going to just feed it down as we put off the blower motor. As to not cut the wires. Blower, you could even use a toothbrush or some kind of bottle brush or something and clean the fins off of the blower. So if they're full of drywall dust or something that you're picking up from the ambient air, it's clean so that we have enough air for combustion as opposed to gas pressure. So you're going to clean these off seasonally. Make sure that you have the right fuel orifice in the fuel housing, the right amount of gas pressure. There's a pressure tap on the inlet and the outlet of the gas valve. The gas valve pressure is adjusted with this screw under this cap. Regardless of the fuel pressure or fuel type, propane or natural gas, it should read, when you put a gas gauge on here, it should read 4 inches of water column. So you would adjust it in or out in would raise the gas pressure, out would lower it to 4 inches of water column, regardless if it's propane or natural gas. And put the lid back on and set it that way. You wouldn't have to adjust that pressure unless somebody's adjusted it for you, or if it's a new gas valve, if you had to replace the gas valve. So, that's your basic maintenance on it, is doing what we did just now. Put this back together and I'll show you the rest of the components on here. There's one other component that I'd like to show you that actually runs the whole heater. It's like the brains of the heater. And it's inside of this control box. And it's kind of like a fan center. It cycles the burner on and off, and it also cycles the main blower in here on and off. See that, Brett? This unit. And I've got one here on the workbench I can show you. It's probably easier to see. So this is the control box, and it pretty much does anything. It works with 2 sensors. A fan sensor, when the heater actually gets up to about 100 degrees, it cycles the blower on. And when the heater gets up to 200 degrees, it cycles the burner off. And when the burner temperature drops down to about 160, it cycles the burner back on. And the sensors are hooked up to these 4 connections. And when the sensors get older, it works with basically continuity of the wire and the sensor. So, the more resistance, the higher the temperature it thinks it is. So when the wire gets older, or the sensors get older, you need to adjust this unit to compensate for that. If you peel this corner off, there's 2 little adjusting screws. The one on the left is the fan sensor, so it adjusts what temperature the main blower comes on at. The one on the right adjusts the temperature that the burner comes on. Typically, if it's a new unit and everything's clean or something, we would have the burner sensor set somewhere around in the 8 o'clock position. So if you were able to turn the screw, and get a smaller screwdriver, but all the way to the left, and it stops, you turn it so it's in about the 8 o'clock position. In the fan sensor should be turned in about the 5 o'clock position. So somewhere around there. There are no increments on the adjusting screws. And in the manual, we have directions for that. Simple unit, fairly easy to operate, just need the proper fuel to air mixture. Adjusting your air to fuel mixture is simply having the right orifice in the unit for propane or natural gas, making sure the gas valve's set at 4 inches of water column, and then you adjust your air until you don't have a rumble, so the heater's not rumbling all over the floor, and you don't have any smoke coming out of the stack. So if you bring the air mixture down to where it's starting to rumble, just open it a crack. If you have too much air, you're going to have late ignition or some smoke. In between there, if you have a combustion analyzer, it'd be great. And you can adjust it with that.